morning. Sorry about being gone yesterday. It was unavoidable. My partner Katie is in the hospital. We rushed her to the emergency room early yesterday morning. Prior to, I came in for a very brief period just to get the station squared away. We ran automation yesterday morning, but that's why I was gone. So back at it today, and I'll be out of here like a shot as soon as I'm done again this morning. She is doing okay. She's having some issues, but all is well. But that's why I was gone yesterday. Good to be with you this morning. We have, of course, Hunter Biden in the news, and we'll be talking about that in more detail. The Karine Jean-Pierre at the White House Ministry of Truth not ruling out a potential commutation for Hunter Biden. And we'll talk about that in more detail this morning. We've got Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, found in contempt of Congress, the House of Representatives doing that yesterday. So that's a big story this morning. There are interesting because there are a number of stories about this. One at the Hill talking about this, one of the other stories, so I'm moving on here. It's kind of trying to get wound back up here again, getting on top of what's going on. I really have been out of it here the last few days. We have Republicans now who are talking about their agenda if they get back in control of government. And so Speaker Mike Johnson met with Senate Republicans yesterday. They started laying out their agenda. Meanwhile, we have Donald Trump today, who will be in Washington meeting with the Republicans. And I've got more news in regard to that. We'll touch on that in more detail coming up here. Also, as I mentioned, Hunter Biden, we have climate protesters arrested at the congressional baseball game. Also, very, very interesting poll from the AARP that says older voters in Arizona strongly favoring Donald Trump over Joe Biden. Chaos at the congressional baseball game last night. Details on that and more. So thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you along. Let me get my thoughts here as we get the show underway. Feel free to drop me an email anytime during the program, greg.belfrage@kelo.com. It's my email address, greg.belfrage@kelo.com. And it's great to be back with you this morning. Okay.
And as summer is in full swing, crews have begun spraying for mosquitoes. Sioux Falls Health Department is working to spray as many of them as possible, keeping the West Nile virus at bay.
Make sure I get this stuff in order.
About 20 from the health department will be spraying throughout the summer. From the KELO.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. KELO News Talk 1320 107.9.
Yeah, we would have talked about the Hunter Biden conviction yesterday if I had been able to be here. But it's one of those things. As I was getting ready for work this morning, Katie was just in incredible pain. And so I took her to the emergency room, and then I came in just to set up automation for the station so that we were squared away on the air, and then I was out of here again like a shot yesterday. All right, here we go.
A little opinion, a little weather, a little argument, a little arrogance. It all adds up to a lot of KELO. News Talk 1320 107.9. The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
Say what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
The Biden administration has a fatal attraction to nutty ideas.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense, no prescription required.
I love the show.
I don't hate going to work anymore.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. It is great to be with you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm sorry that I was gone yesterday. It was, I am fine, by the way. People had been reaching out to me and saying, "Are you okay?" Oh, yeah, everything with me is fine. It was Katie yesterday, my partner, Katie, who was not doing well yesterday morning in a severe amount of pain. So I rushed her to the emergency room about the time that I'm normally coming to work, took her to the emergency room, and that's where my mind and my heart were at. So coming on the air and being able to, in it, having my thoughts and being able to present them to you in a kind of a cogent way is a big enough challenge for me on the best of days. Yesterday, I would have been just an absolute disaster. So it just made sense when we went to automation yesterday, and that's why there was no Greg Belfrage show. So back this morning, and as soon as I get off air today, it'll be back to the hospital. By the way, she's doing, I don't want to say she's doing fine, but they'll be undertaking another procedure today. Yeah, I really hesitate to give too much information of her personal information, but they're doing another procedure today, and I fully expect that she will be fine as a result of what they're doing. But she's receiving some very great care over at the hospital, and they were just, I just sit in awe of these folks as I were listening to the doctor yesterday afternoon. So they're well aware of what's going on. They're going to try and do their best to get her back on her feet, and I hope that she will hopefully be able to get her back home later on today. So that's why I wasn't here yesterday. My apologies for that. It's just one of those, life has those kinds of unexpected moments. So my plan was, as I got up yesterday, I was fully prepared to come to work. We were going to hit it, and the day had other plans for me. So that's why I was gone yesterday. But I'm doing fine. I'm just worried about her, obviously. Otherwise, all is well. So let's get to the big stories of the day. We had House Republicans voting yesterday to hold Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. This is the AG. And the reason they held him in contempt is because the AG has refused to turn over the audio of President Biden's interview with Robert Hur. That's the White House special counsel who was looking into Joe Biden and all of those classified documents that Joe Biden had all over the place. Had them in his garage, had them in his closet, all of these places. And the Attorney General, and we've talked about this as this has been ongoing, that Garland has refused to turn those documents over to Congress. And so yesterday, then House of Republicans voted to hold him in contempt of Congress. And Garland had said, he released a statement after the vote. He said, I know, and I have to fight to share it because he's just not truthful. Merrick Garland has, I think, like many people in this administration, he has a problem with the truth. Merrick Garland does. Just like the president does, this administration does. They have a problem with the truth. And Garland says it is deeply disappointing that this House of Representatives has turned a serious congressional authority into a partisan weapon. Today's vote disregards the constitutional separation of powers, the Justice Department's need to protect its investigations, and the substantial amount of information we have provided to the committees, he said. I will always stand up for this department, its employees, and its vital mission to defend our democracy. So that was a portion of the statement released yesterday by Attorney General Merrick Garland. Democrats, of course, were making very similar comments, but Republicans said the audio of this interview with the president is important to the investigations going on in Congress. And Jim Jordan, who was the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, suggested the president may have kept classified information to help him write his memoir. And the special counsel had determined that there just wasn't enough evidence then to support a claim that the president had intentionally held on to the records that were found in his office and his home and so on. And so Jordan said President Biden had strong motivations to ignore proper procedures for safeguarding the classified information in his notebooks. He had decided months before leaving office to write a book for which he got paid $8 million, he said. And then he talked about Trump and what's been going on with Donald Trump. And he said our former president is being charged. Joe Biden is not being. And we think we're entitled. Actually, we know we're entitled to all of the evidence, said Jim Jordan. And there were others. I think James Comer said that the attorney general's, refusing to produce this evidence, he said, it establishes a clear pattern of obstruction by the DOJ to cover up President Biden's wrongdoing. So Democrats are on the other side of that. But that has been a very big story this morning. Also, we've got Republicans meeting and planning the future in the event that Republicans take control of the government again. So the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, met with Senate Republicans yesterday, and they're coming up with their agenda so that if Donald Trump winds up being reelected, and if Republicans then were to win back control of the Senate, keep their House majority, what things should they be working on? They're already trying to come up with the plan, and Republicans say they want to have a bold agenda ready to hit the ground running in January. Senator John Cornyn of Texas said that Johnson told senators he wants to be prepared to hit the ground running. And he said it's pretty clear that they want to try to go big. And that means more than just extending the tax cuts, Cornyn said. So Johnson, in conversations then with Republican senators, they did talk about tax cuts. They talked about spending cuts. They talked about regulatory reforms among the things that they discussed. And among those who were there was Republican Senator Jim Langford of Oklahoma. And he said it's 6 months out. We've got to prepare. So they want an agenda that they can take to the American people. He said, we've got to be able to think through what are the key issues that we could do. We don't know what the makeup is going to be. He said the American people will decide that in November, but we should start talking about it, starting with taxes. It's got to be a lot more than just taxes. Certainly are part of it, I think. But it's got to be a lot more than just taxes. At least that's what I believe. So we'll see. So as part of that, Donald Trump is headed to Washington today, and he will have a series of meetings with the Republicans from both the House and the Senate. And this is according to his senior Trump campaign officials. So among the things that they want to talk about include Trump's commitment to protecting seniors with no cuts to Social Security or Medicare, policies that actually secure our border. Yeah, see, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Policies that secure our border, make our community safe again, and America First foreign policy that reclaims peace through strength and world leadership, and economic policies of lower taxes that reignite the vibrant Trump economy that we had just a few years ago. So Donald Trump will be meeting with, again, Republicans from both the House and Senate today, as Republicans really are trying to prepare, getting ready, looking ahead, and want to be able to have a clear message to take to voters, I think, which is kind of unlike what we see coming out of the current Democrat administration. Not a lot of clarity that's coming out of Washington these days. So the other stories that are in the news, Hunter Biden's conviction, obviously, this week. You and I haven't had a chance to discuss this yet since I wasn't here yesterday. But now the White House said they're not ruling out a potential commutation for Hunter Biden. And Karine Jean-Pierre at the Ministry of Truth said, as we all know, that's one of those phrases she just loves to repeat ad nauseum. As we all know, the sentencing hasn't even been scheduled yet, she said on Air Force One yesterday. And she said she hadn't talked to the president about the issue. The president then ruled out pardoning his son during an ABC News interview last week. Did you hear Trey Gowdy yesterday on the Fox News Rundown? Again, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be here, but I did catch a portion of the Fox News Rundown yesterday morning. And Trey Gowdy was talking about this. And he was saying politically easy enough for Biden to say, well, I've thought it over, that this happens in politics all of the time. No kidding, where you have elected leaders who say one thing. So the president has said, oh yeah, he's not going to pardon his son, but many of us believe that maybe he would do that. And Gowdy talking about it and saying, I really appreciated his perspective on the Fox News Rundown yesterday, saying that, should Hunter Biden go to jail for this? No, he shouldn't go to jail. I mean, was it an issue? Obviously, but this is something. It's unfortunate that it had to go through the courts, and the reason it went through the courts was because of the plea bargain and so on, and the way it got handled in the first place. But what Trey Gowdy made, and I thought it was a pretty salient point that Gowdy was making yesterday. He said that, let's save prison for the real offenders, for violent offenders. Those are the people that need to be in prison, not people like Hunter Biden, and certainly not people like Donald Trump. And I thought, you know what? I agree with that. I don't think Hunter Biden is a threat to society. Don't think he's a threat to anyone. I do think he broke the law, right? And I think the speed with which that verdict was returned, pretty amazing. But I don't think he belongs in jail. And I certainly don't think Donald Trump belongs in jail. So Karine Jean-Pierre saying of the president's comments to ABC last week, she said he was very clear, very upfront, obviously very definitive, she said. But on a commutation, she said, I just don't have anything beyond that as to whether they would commute his sentence. Some have suggested that the president might actually just pardon his son, that we could see that. I would have to say there is nothing that I put past this administration, so I certainly don't have any insight as to where they're headed or what we will see happen. It's a story we'll be following in the week ahead. Also now, Chuck Todd is losing his mind over at NBC News. If you needed any more evidence of the Chuck Todd meltdown, here you go. They're talking about the conviction now of Hunter Biden undercuts all of Donald Trump's complaints about the justice system. This is what Chuck Todd is saying. He said, I think it really damages the Trump campaign's ability to just wave away their conviction, he said. And he said, politically, this is a big blow to Trump. Now, again, I mean, if I were drinking, if I were having my coffee as I heard him say that, I would be blowing it through my nose. Because this is so laughable. A big blow to Trump politically. Gee, if you needed more evidence that the legacy media and Chuck Todd are just absolutely deranged and deluded, I mean, I don't. They have no commitment to the truth and just a complete lack of common sense. It's just absolutely amazing. And he's saying of Trump, he's trying so hard to create this weaponization, and this has been a Republican talking point for so long because that's what we've seen. That's what we have seen. Also, we had climate protesters at the congressional baseball game who didn't get very far. 8 climate protesters were arrested after they ran onto the field, and it didn't last long. I mean, they were almost immediately tackled by U.S. Capitol Police. Now they're facing federal charges, including interference with a member of the U.S. Capitol Police. So it's a group called Climate Defiance. It's a youth-led group. And during the second inning, over a half a dozen of them jumped the fence onto the field wearing shirts that said, "End fossil fuels." Well, congratulations, you got yourself on television and are facing federal charges as a result. Hey, nice job. Really nice job. Well, many of us just shake our heads and wonder what in the world is, oh, well, let's just move on. This is interesting. It's a new poll from AARP. And it says voters who are over age 50 in the key battleground state of Arizona strongly favor Donald Trump in November's election rematch. And this is a poll from AARP. So you've got voters in Arizona favoring Trump over Biden by 45% to 37%, and then 11% of support going to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So older voters, and it raises the question then, at least for me, is are older voters going to, what role will they play in the election coming up in November? And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Hey, it's really great to have you along. 625, mostly cloudy, and 65 currently at Kello. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. All right, now, since I was gone yesterday, we've got to get some Wildwater West tickets in your hands. So we'll be doing hourly giveaways this morning of Wildwater West tickets. So if you would like 2 evening passes to Wildwater West Water Park, call us right now, 605 336 1320. We'll take caller number 7. Caller number 7 right now at 605 336 1320. And you'll win 2 tickets to Wildwater West Water Park, now open. 1 ticket, unlimited slides and rides, 5 miles west of the Empire Mall.
Weekdays at 2. Kello.
All right, that's our first segment.
7.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by
Getting ready for news headlines coming up here shortly. Let's see what Joe's got going on.
locations to serve you.
We don't just meet expectations, we exceed them. We don't just follow that.
Wow, another shooting in Sioux Falls yesterday.
You're not just choosing a service provider, you're choosing a partner who is relentless in the pursuit of perfection. A partner who believes in getting
What's going on in this city?
single day. Together, we're not just building roofs, we're building a legacy of betterment for generations to come. Here's to the future where we continue to get better together. Mitchell Roofing and Siding. Call us today, 996-8648.
At Billion Buick GMC in Sioux Falls, we have one of the largest new GMC inventories in the Midwest.
Okay.
Whether you need a hard-working new GMC Sierra, half-ton or heavy-duty for work, or an SUV with room for the whole family, we have you covered. Stop by today. We'll help you find the right vehicle for you. Don't see exactly what you want? We'll order it. Shop the GMC Giant today. Billion Buick GMC in Sioux Falls or billionauto.com/GMC. We are professional grade.
America's infrastructure is ancient and crumbling. Crooked politicians pocket the funds meant to keep you safe and to power your home. Where does that leave you? In the dark. Or you could keep the lights on with the Grid Doctor 300 solar power generator from MyPatriotSupply.com. My Patriot Supply is
Coming up, we'll run down trending news stories.
power outages are emergencies. The Grid Doctor 300 lasts longer and runs stronger. Connect it to solar panels, your car, or a power block or wall to charge it. Not only does this
We'll sort those out here in a moment.
use its wireless chargers, multiple power ports, and no devices left behind. Run phones, fans, CPAP machines, even mini refrigerators. It's easy to use. Unleash power for all, from kids to grandparents. Protect your family with reliable power. Get the Grid Doctor 300 and save $50. Plus get free shipping at MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Morning showers and even a thunderstorm, otherwise partly cloudy this afternoon. Well, the high of 85 today. North winds 15 to 25 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies this evening and tonight. 56 are low. Partly cloudy for tomorrow. High temperature of 82. Southeast wind of 5 to 15. Watching for that.
In Sioux Falls at 629, mostly cloudy and 68 currently at Kello. Hey, congratulations to Jordan Lorenzen of Sioux Falls. Jordan won that pair of passes to Wildwater West Water Park. Jordan, thanks so much for listening, my friend. I will have another chance for you to win passes coming up less than an hour from now. So keep listening. More passes from Wildwater West coming up. Also, Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center this morning. And among stories that Joe's following, another Sioux Falls shooting has left one person in critical condition. It happened yesterday morning. Also, a vigil is set for the victims of that triple homicide in Sioux Falls. So Joe will have details on those stories and more coming up for you here in moments. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello. All right, we're into Fox News.
Leaders are at the G7 summit in Italy.
President Biden will sign a
I'm
security
going to turn the volume up
with
in hopes that you can catch some of this.
And he'll attempt to battle through legal red tape over the use of frozen Russian assets. This year's summit has several invited outsiders, including Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Pope Francis, who arrives on Friday. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Former President Trump's back in D.C. today, meeting with House Republicans in the morning and senators in the afternoon. The annual congressional baseball game in D.C. is a blowout.
The Republicans won 31-11 for their fourth straight victory. The game was expected to raise $2 million for approximately 45 Washington, D.C. charities.
Fox's Jill Morgan. 8 climate change protesters were arrested after running onto the field at Nationals Park. America's listening to Fox News.
News brought to you by Sioux Falls Implant and Sedation Dentistry. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Kello News Time 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. Another Sioux Falls shooting has left one person in critical condition. Police responded to the area of 7th and Fairfax, just east of downtown, on reports of gunshots. They found a victim in the roadway suffering from a gunshot wound and other injuries. Investigators are still looking for a suspect. A vigil is scheduled for the victims of that triple homicide in Sioux Falls. Pax Christi, South Dakota is hosting the vigil near the home where Daniel Chemnitz, Michael Thompson, and Kelly Reed were killed.
Excuse me.
The vigil will be held Monday evening, June 17th, on the northeast corner of West 58th and South Drexel Drive. Attorney General Marty Jackley is supporting a new federal act that aims to stop deepfake AI images of child pornography. The Child Exploitation and Artificial Intelligence Expert Commission Act of 2024 would form a group to investigate and make recommendations to help fight child exploitation crimes committed using artificial intelligence. Jackley says it's time for the problem to be addressed at the national level. Out with the old and in with the new will take on extra meeting for the Whittier Middle School neighborhood in Sioux Falls. The school board voted unanimously to replace the century-old facility, which will mean tearing it down. It will also mean raising 29 homes and a church, something board president Carly Ryder calls an important consideration.
Sioux Falls doesn't have a lot of affordable housing, and so trying to preserve what's there is important for that community.
The new school is planned to be built just north of the existing building. The Cheyenne River Sioux tribe is calling for an immediate ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas. They're demanding the U.S. enforce the ceasefire and provide immediate food and medical aid to the Palestinian people. And as summer is in full swing, crews have begun spraying for mosquitoes. The Sioux Falls Health Department is working to spray as many of them as possible, keeping the West Nile virus at bay as their chief
All right,
concern.
there we
A
go.
crew of about 20 from the Health Department will be spraying throughout the summer. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Take care of some business here, and then we'll get back at it.
Otherwise becoming partly cloudy for the afternoon. A warm day, high temperature of 85. North wind.
Again, sorry about being gone yesterday. It was one of those, I got up fully, just my normal routine, getting up on my way to come to work, and Katie was in a lot of pain, and I was encouraging her to go to the emergency room, which she did. So that's why I wasn't here yesterday. Just one of those things that life happens, right? Despite your, your plans and your intentions. So I fully planned on being here yesterday. I will be taking some time off, I will say, coming up though, over the 4th of July holiday. I'll be gone, obviously, 4th of July holiday. I'll be gone Friday the 5th, and then I'll be gone the entire following week. So in the following July 4th, I'll be gone for a little over a week. So I want to give you a heads up about that.
Apple says it offers peace of mind that private information cannot be seen by others. I say, if your marriage is resting on what you can see on
We're,
in others' phone, you already have major troubles.
I think I can talk about this. I don't want to.
GetKim.com. AI might be the most important new
There,
technology ever.
I want to phrase it carefully because there are things I'm not allowed to say. I will say there are 12-week periods where I cannot take vacation. So there are two 12-week periods where I can't, and two 12-week periods where I can't. And so coming up here later this month, we'll hit one of the 12-week periods where I'm able to take time off. So if you notice that when I take time off where it may come in spurts, there's a reason for that, why that occurs. It's our company policy. I'm not allowed to take vacation for, 24 weeks out of the year. So when we get to periods where I can, and especially now with the nicer weather and the summer starting, so I will be taking vacation then after the 4th of July and through that whole following week. So I want to give you a heads up about that. Oh, shoot, that's right.
Combination windows, optimizing a beautiful view and lighting a bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
Summer is here, Sioux Falls, and Harold's Photo is turning up the heat with sizzling savings all June long. Enjoy a whopping 20% off select kitchen, grilling, and camping items. Harold's Photo has something for everyone. Go to harroldsphoto.com to see a full list of sale items.
Oh, I badly needed some coffee this morning. I've been pretty good about not having coffee except on the weekends. And today I'm like, no, I got to have coffee. Let's do a commercial for Washington Crossing here. Quick word from my friends at Washington Crossing. If you are worried about your aging parents, if you're worried about their safety, are they happy? Are they lonely? It's not easy to see your parents getting older, and you want to make sure that they have a great retirement, the best retirement possible. And that's why I have been sharing the story of Washington Crossing Retirement Community for years, because it feels like home for the people who live there. It's just a great community. Washington Crossing offers maintenance-free living. And what that means then is that mom and dad can focus on enjoying their retirement and not on chores around the house. Washington Crossing is also a really vibrant community. The folks there are friendly. They have countless activities going on. You also won't have to worry about your folks because Washington Crossing has a caring staff that's always available. You're going to make sure that your parents are safe and comfortable. Washington Crossing Retirement Community, where your parents can live their retirement to their full, to its fullest, and you can breathe easy. Discover peace of mind for your family. Call Washington Crossing today at 605-271-9273 and see everything that they've got to offer. It's a beautiful place. I just love it. You'll notice decorations from residents up and around the entire place. It's just really, vibrant there. 605-271-9273 is their phone number. And you can find more information on their website at WashingtonCrossingRC.com. Washington Crossing Retirement Community, premier retirement living at a great value.
With Kello, you can have the latest news reports in your bedroom.
Get the latest news and weather updates anywhere you've got a smart speaker.
And get the news before you get in the car or before you get out of bed.
Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Twenty minutes before 7. Mostly cloudy and 68. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's really great to have you along this hour. Brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News.
These are stories that are trending this morning via Free Spoke. The House voted yesterday to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. The Attorney General is refusing to hand over the interview of Robert Hur. He was the special counsel, Robert Hur, and the interview that he did with President Joe Biden. And so The House voted yesterday. It was a 216 to 207 vote, fell along party lines. And the Attorney General said it was deeply disappointed. He said that the House of Representatives now has turned their serious congressional authority into a partisan weapon, was Merrick Garland's response. Also, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre would not speculate. She was pressed yesterday, a number of times yesterday, about Hunter Biden's conviction on Tuesday this week and whether the president then is considering commuting his son's sentence. And she really wouldn't asked about it. She was, or answer the question. She was at, which is nothing new. I mean, that could be a story any day of the week where she's refusing to answer questions. But she was asked whether the president is commuting Hunter Biden's sentence on the table. And she said, I've not spoken to the president about this. And what I'm saying is he was asked about a pardon. She's talking about an ABC News interview last week. He was asked about the trial specifically, and he answered it very clearly. She said, I don't have anything beyond what the president said. Also, one of the jurors in the Hunter Biden trial apparently said in an interview with CNN that I really don't think that Hunter belongs in jail. And the jury was not thinking of the sentencing when it convicted Hunter Biden. And again, saying, I don't think that he belongs in jail. And I want to be clear, I think the same. I don't believe that he belongs in jail. I really don't. Let's save jail for serious offenses. And we'll talk about that, and we'll get your thoughts on it as well. Also, the Federal Reserve yesterday kept the key interest rate unchanged and signaled that just one cut is expected before the end of the year. So markets were hoping for more. The Federal Open Market Committee indicated it believes the long-run interest rate is higher than previously indicated. Also, the president facing a lawsuit over the new asylum crackdown at the U.S.-Mexico border. So this lawsuit was filed, and they said they would. The ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, and others who were suing the administration over the, what's going on at the border. And I think the ACLU attorney said, by enacting an asylum ban that is legally indistinguishable from the Trump ban we successfully blocked, we were left with no choice but to file this lawsuit. And so they did. House Speaker Mike Johnson, according to reports, got a little bit of breathing room on Tuesday night when Republican Michael Rowley won the special election in Ohio. He will replace retired Representative Bill Johnson. So Rowley is an Ohio State senator, small business owner, touts himself as a big natural gas guy. So there were elections on Tuesday, and some of those stories are still trending. Also, you remember Joey Chestnut being, he's the hot dog eating champion? Joey Chestnut is in the news. Now, he was banned from the Nathan's famous international hot dog eating contest. He was banned from that. And so now Netflix has announced that Chestnut will face off against a longtime rival, Takuro Kobayashi, who was dubbed the godfather of competitive eating. And he claimed that he was retiring earlier this year. So now this is a live event that will stream on Netflix. It'll be the Labor Day competition will be a winner-take-all head-to-head battle and has been dubbed Chestnut versus Kobayashi, unfinished beef. So the hot dog eating champions will be squaring off over the Labor Day weekend, and the whole thing brought to you by Netflix, for those of you who are our Netflix subscribers. Other stories trending this morning. South Korean troops fired warning shots at a group of North Korean soldiers earlier this week. Apparently, the North Korean soldiers had crossed the border separating the two countries. It's according to South Korea. So they fired warning shots at these, and then they immediately fell back into North Korea. So they, and there were no further confrontation following that. Also, numerous states' attorneys general are celebrating a multi-state settlement reached with Johnson & Johnson. And this is over deceptive marketing practices for products containing talc. So talc was used in products such as baby powder and body powder. And so as part of the settlement with 42 states and the District of Columbia, Johnson & Johnson has agreed to pay $700 million in damages. And as part of this, they also agree to stop making, marketing, promoting, selling, or distributing any talc-based baby and body powders in all of those states. And the reason this is an issue is because, according to the DC Attorney General, asbestos was present in the talc, and the company then didn't, let folks know that asbestos was in those products. And that's why such a stunning judgment against Johnson & Johnson. Other stories trending this morning. The Southern Baptist Convention narrowly rejected a proposal that would have implemented a ban on churches with women pastors. And there were those that wanted this as part of the denomination's constitution. So they narrowly, though, rejected the proposal. It received 61% of the vote, but it failed to meet the 2/3 supermajority requirement. So you have a majority that are definitely in favor, but not a supermajority. So the church's official statement still limits the office of pastor to men, which is a position supported by opponents of the constitutional ban. Also, Elon Musk has withdrawn his lawsuit against OpenAI. That's the artificial intelligence organization, OpenAI. And it's the company then that produced GPT-4 last year. The latest Chat GPT is GPT-4. So Elon Musk has withdrawn his lawsuit. However, he has not given up his crusade. And I mentioned this the other day, that he was threatening to ban devices belonging to OpenAI's new partner at his company. And and you and I talked about this on Tuesday this week about he views it as a potential threat to his companies. But he has withdrawn his lawsuit. I think he sued them back in February and withdrew it this week. Not very clear why he withdrew that, but also a Russian nuclear-powered submarine and other naval vessels arrived in Cuba yesterday. This is part of a 5-day visit to Cuba, which, as you will know, is right off the coast of Florida. And it's creating then more tensions between the United States and Russia. So the submarine Kazan, which Cuba says is not carrying nuclear weapons, was accompanied then by other Russian vessels as well, including one of Russia's most modern warships. So they're seen just off Havana, and that's about 90 miles from the coast of Florida. Also, Hezbollah, the group which is backed by Iran, Hezbollah fired around 160 projectiles at Israel yesterday after Israel killed one of its top commanders on Tuesday. So Hezbollah militants and Israeli forces have exchanged fire across Israel's northern border almost every day since the October 7th Hamas attack. Hezbollah said it fired missiles and rockets at 2 Israeli military bases in retaliation for an Israeli strike on a house about 6 miles from Israel's northern border. And this is the strike that killed, again, one of Hezbollah's top commanders. Again, what we have seen, I think, in much of this is that Israel has had a lot of success, despite the United States trying to press them to stop, do less. And then finally this morning, a lawsuit that was brought by the last 2 survivors of the 1921 massacre in Greenwood, Oklahoma, was dismissed by the Oklahoma Supreme Court. The court sided with the district judge, who ruled that the case did not fall within the scope of Oklahoma's public nuisance statute. And again, this was a lawsuit brought by the last 2 survivors of this 1921 massacre. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Hey, it's really great to have you along. Sorry that I wasn't here yesterday, just one unexpected day. So it's great to be back with you again this morning. Currently, we've got mostly cloudy skies, 68. In fact, skies are growing a little bit cloudier since I came on the air this morning. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Talk and news when it happens.
All right, we've got a few minutes here before we close out today's YouTube broadcast. But again, thanks for being here.
Not after my custom fitting. I'm smashing everything.
You could do that with a monster truck.
Okay.
Our company that mistakenly cut service has your payment info and last readdressed is in endless places that could accidentally expose your info to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code PLAY at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter.
Big transmission problem or minor repair takes a specialist to know. That's why I recommend the specialists at Jim's National Transmission, downtown at 4th and Weber. When you're having transmission problems, it's always best to go to a specialist. Most auto repair places will just replace your transmission, and that's going to cost you 50 to 70% more than if you went to a transmission specialist. So do yourself a favor. Save yourself time and money by taking your vehicle to the team at Jim's Transmission. They know all the ins and outs of automatic transmission diagnosis. Jim's Transmission is the transmission-only specialist because transmissions are all they do. Find them downtown at 4th and Weber and check out their website. You'll find coupons and specials and their phone number there to give them a call today. The website is jimsautotrans.com. That's jimsautotrans.com. Jim's National Transmission, downtown at 4th and Weber.
Morning showers and even a thunderstorm, otherwise partly cloudy this afternoon. Well, the high of 85 today. North winds 15 to 25 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies this evening and tonight. 56 are low. Partly cloudy for tomorrow. High temperature of 82. Southeast winds of 5 to 15. Watching for heavy rain on Saturday. From the Storm Center.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:58. It's mostly cloudy and 68. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. And among stories that Joe will be following for us coming up here in just a few moments, another Sioux Falls shooting has left one person in critical condition. Shooting happened yesterday morning. Also, a vigil is scheduled for the victims of the triple homicide in Sioux Falls. Attorney General Marty Jackley is supporting a new federal act that aims to stop deepfake AI images of child pornography. That's become a real big issue. And the school board voted unanimously to replace the century-old Whittier Middle School facility, which will mean that they will tear down Whittier and build a new facility in that area. So Joe will have details on those stories and more coming up for you here in just a few moments. Ahead, we will be asking whether you think the president is going to commute his the sentence of Hunter Biden. We've not talked about Hunter Biden's conviction this week, so we'll get to that story and more coming up on the Greg Belfrage Show.
1320 KELO Sioux Falls, FM 107.9.
And there we go, my friend. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate it. Feel free to drop me an email anytime. Love your emails. greg.belfridge@kelo.com. You can hear the entire show at kelo.com. You can also download our app, listen to the show that way. Thanks so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Sorry about being gone yesterday. So long until tomorrow, and may God bless.
Ukraine's President Zelensky has signed a security agreement. There's also a NATO meeting